Entrepreneurial commitment. What are some of the things you need to commit to as an entrepreneur to be successful? Welcome, Combination Crew. My name is Rosh and I teach the combination code. And part of understanding the combination code is what to let go of and what to keep. What should we commit to as an entrepreneur? Now, there are a number of things you can commit to, but there are some core things you should focus in on if you wish to be successful. The first thing, I think, is to be true to yourself. You know, there are a lot of distractions out there. Stick with your core mission, who you are. Don't try to be someone else, and don't try to do things that other people are doing because it looks like it's a shiny, nice object that could be fun. Focus and make sure you stick with your game plan until it proves not to be viable. Be true to who you are. That's really important. If you get too distracted and start looking all different directions for new opportunities and never give your initial ideas a chance, you very well may not be the success you want. You need to be focused. The people who are the most successful are the ones who didn't quit. However, there are very successful people who also understand when it's time to give up. But you have to know when that is by going through the process of being committed to who you are and your vision. The next thing you should be committed to is taking the long view. I know we all want to be an overnight success, but the reality is it takes time. And generally, if you dig down deep into the people who seemingly were overnight successes, well, chances are they were very prepared for that overnight success. They were actually working hard before they reached that success. It may have seemed like they got to the top really quick, but that was because they had a lot of preparation and time and energy put into preparing and creating the ground for that success. So I recommend you take the long view. Now, the long view does not have to be years. It can be a year. Maybe it's 6 months, maybe it's 2 years, but you should sit back and think about what is reality? When you go through the steps that it takes to be successful in the venture that you are trying to win at, that you're trying to be a success at, how long does it really take to get through those steps? And then set the course and say, look, I'm going to commit for an entire year. And after that year, I'll reevaluate and decide my next steps. Next, and this is really important, you need to commit to your health and well-being. You can't get through the long days of being a successful entrepreneur if you're dragging, if you're not taking care of yourself. You need to have a good diet. You need to work out. And if you like, try meditation. Why? Because it can help you think better overall and make better decisions. And that combination of good nutrition and exercise and mental health, such as meditation, can be really helpful in the long run. Because if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to look at the long run, as we just mentioned. And you can't get there without taking care of yourself. If you really want to be successful as an entrepreneur, you need to commit to hard work. And yes, I know there's a lot of people out there telling you how not to work hard to be a successful entrepreneur, how to make a lot of money by not working hard. But the fact is, the people who really are doing it probably work really hard. The majority of them actually work really hard. Now, that doesn't mean you can't take a lot of time off and you don't have control of your life. It is true. If you are a successful entrepreneur, the higher you go up the ladder, the more control you actually have of your time if you do it right. Think about Steven Pressfield's book, The War of Art, where he talks about going to work every single day. Now, that book is for writers, but these are independent people who depend on themselves to get up each day. Nobody is over their head telling them, hey, time to get up, you have to be at somewhere at a certain time, you have to be at work. No. Entrepreneurs generally have control of when they go to work. And if you don't get up and go to work right now, even before you are what is considered a success, you're not going to make it. You need to put in the time to get things done to make it happen. So go to work. That is a path for a successful entrepreneur. Next is keep balance. I just mentioned going to work, and I've mentioned eating healthy, and you need to have a holistic perspective to keep balance in your life. Look, I am an entrepreneur, but you know what I try to do? I try to end my day by 6 o'clock every single day. That way I know I have to get things done. Now I may get up earlier, especially for days that I have a lot of work to do. And there are some days that I need to work past 6 o'clock, and I let my family know this is one of those days. However, I try to be done by 6. That way it forces me to be organized, to get things done, and I can have balance with my family, have a family life. I need to make sure that I'm taking time to exercise, and I do that each morning. I like to meditate. I do that each day, usually in the morning, but not always. I do it when I can during the day. But the point is, don't go too far in one extreme or another. Otherwise, you could just fall over. You could break, and you don't want to do that. You want to be a successful entrepreneur. And so you need to balance things out. Doesn't mean you don't work hard. Doesn't mean you don't take risks. But it does mean you reflect on what you're doing and make sure those extremes don't last too long. Next, you need to commit to relationships. And I know as an entrepreneur, we think we're all alone, and quite often we are all alone. And that's why I have the combination code 7531, where the 5 is a group of people who are supporting you. You need to develop the relationships around you, because no matter what, even if you're a solo entrepreneur, you can't do it alone. You need good people around you to help you make the connections, to help you do the work, and to make sure it's all running smoothly. You need people to bounce ideas off of. Commit to relationships if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. As a successful entrepreneur, you must understand risk and be committed to the fact that you are going to take risks. If you're risk adverse, if you do not like taking risks, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs generally take a lot of the risk. That's what makes them entrepreneurs. But that doesn't mean you have to go off the cliff. It doesn't mean you can't examine risk first and make wise choices. Of course you can. But you do have to take risks if you want to get ahead, because risks are part of the reward part. If you want a big reward, you probably have to take a big risk. So take the time, evaluate risks, decide what your threshold is when it comes to risks, but commit to the idea that you will take risks, and if you're going to be a successful entrepreneur, that risks are going to be part of the equation. Now for the biggest commitment you need to make to be a successful entrepreneur, and that is to start, and to start right now. There is no perfect time to get started as an entrepreneur. If you're ready, if you have ideas, the time is now, not tomorrow, it's today. And if you're already an entrepreneur, but you're trying to think about what your next steps may be, well, what are some of those ideas that you haven't tried out, that you've been thinking about, that you've been pondering? They're there. There are some great ideas that you know you can start right now doing, and just plant the seeds to get things going. If you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to start. It will not be tomorrow, because if you wait for tomorrow, well, guess what? Then it'll be tomorrow again, and next thing you know, it's going to be a year, 2 years, 5 years down the road, and you'll have wished that you had started. Welcome to the Combination Crew. If you have questions, put them in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.